Hello, it's me, Greed here. The Hazard playtest has been done for quite a while now, and I've had plenty of time to go back and look at the scrims that I played with him, and the quick play games that I played with him. I played him into the mirror matchup, I played him against counters, I played against things he might be good against, so I've had a pretty extensive time on the hero, kind of figuring out what he's good at, what he's bad at, and I can say with certainty, this is one of my favorite hero releases that they've ever put in the game in a very long time. And the reason for that is he's just really, really fun to play. The fluidity of his movement is crazy. The fact that you can use all of your abilities in tandem feels great. You can do the leap, you can block while you're leaping, you can shoot the wall while you're leaping, you can wall climb, get and then hit your axe, then it staggers the wall climb, you can wall climb again afterwards. It's incredible. There's a lot of complexity with the hero. He's got a lot of tech, a lot of animation cancels that you can learn to try and be effective with. And overall, he's just got a lot of player agency. There's just a lot you can do. You can use your wall in a multitude of ways. You can use your leap in a multitude of ways. There is a lot you can do. You have a lot of options on this hero, and I love that. Obviously, the fact that he's complex, I already brought it up. I love that he's a complex hero. He's not brain dead. He's not just a press W down main character. It actually requires quite a lot of thinking on what you want to go to, right? Your engages are very important on the hero, so I love that. I also love that he's not obscenely overpowered. I like that he's not just got some goofy ability that he just presses and he wins the game with, or he takes like 5% damage or whatever and he can shoot people and stuff. The character's not silly, and I like that he's not really, really broken. However, Hazard does have his issues, as does every character in Overwatch, to be fair. However, Hazard's issues are pretty bad, and I will bring them up now, since I'm done glazing the hero. The first problem, in my opinion, is his block is downright disgustingly overpowered. It's ridiculous. The block is just really dumb. The biggest part of the block being dumb, in my opinion, is the needles. That's basically the only part that I dislike. I'm actually okay with the block otherwise. But the block, having needles is dumb. I know a lot of people have brought it up, like it's not that big of a deal, it doesn't do that much damage or whatever it may be, but the fact of the matter is, it is an ability where you hold down right click, you get a bunch of damage resistance, and you shoot people in front of you with homing needles that don't miss. I think that's just obscenely overpowered. I don't like abilities in the game that do that. Same reason I don't like Brigand Spire. Same reason I don't like Suzu. It's the same reason I don't like many of the abilities in the game. And of course, like, I have to stay consistent. I do not like Juno balls, and I do not like Hazard's block shooting needles. I think it's very dumb. A character like this, with how much skill expression he has, I don't see why there needs to be a reason for him to have this silly thing that lets him shoot people for absolutely free, but it is what it is. Hopefully that gets removed. I'd be very pleased if it did. The next issue with Hazard is he is a complete pea shooter. He does no damage. You are not soloing anything on this fucking character. It's just not happening. Basically, his left click genuinely is bordering on completely useless. It does basically nothing. You can stand point blank on top of an Ana and left click her twice in the head at point blank. Every needle hits, and it's not enough to kill her. Now, you can melee afterwards for the kill, but that's for a shotgun with a lot of projectiles. Now, if you were looking at any videos of him, you would see that when he shoots his actual gun, it comes out in a horizontal line, and it's a lot of projectiles. I don't know how many it is, to be exact, but it's a lot of projectiles to hit, which means the damage is split across those many projectiles, meaning you have to hit more projectiles to actually get value out of his gun, and with there being so many projectiles, it means you have to be very close. And especially with the spread being a horizontal line and not a circle, it makes it so you need to be even closer to do anything. So it's a shotgun that, with low damage, with a lot of projectiles, with a unfavorable spread pattern, meaning you have to be completely point blank to actually do anything. And even if you are point blank, it still basically does nothing. So his damage is really embarrassing. It's actually quite terrible. But I would happily trade his block needles. Like, get rid of all of them. Give me, like, a little bit more damage. Tighten the spread, or just buff the damage numbers, or give it less projectiles in total, so I need to get less projectiles, but put the damage from those projectiles into the other ones. completely happy with that. Again, I will reiterate, the block is dumb with the needles that shoot. That is very dumb, and I want it gone. I would happily get rid of that for more damage on the left click. Absolutely fine with that. The next issue is that his ult is genuinely terrible. It's really bad. It's not even just badly designed. It's ugly. The little, like, the zone that appears on the floor is lazy. It's just a big fucking glowing rectangle. Like, think of Doomfist, right? When a Doomfist comes flying out of the sky, right, you see, like, the big ring, and it looks great, and it's bright, and it's very easy to see, and it's got texture to it. It's it's hard to mistake it for anything else. Hazard is literally just he makes the ground red. And if you're in that, then you get hit. You get hit through walls, you get hit out of the sky, you get hit, like I said, through fucking walls, by the way. Like, if he presses the button, he will just straight up ult you through the wall. If you're in the AoE, it hits you, which is very silly. Very silly. However, they kind of needed the ult to do that because it's really bad. It's basically just Earth Shatter that can go through walls but doesn't stun people. It roots them, but it doesn't stun them, so they can still shoot you and stuff. So the only use case it has is ulting people through walls, and by the time you get around to shoot those people, you are then shooting people that are rooted in the ground so they can still shoot you. Your gun doesn't do enough damage to actually kill anything that's stuck, and like I said, they're not stunned, so they just kill you. Ult is literal dog shit. It's really bad. I don't know how they could fix it, to be honest. I think the overall design of it is bad. I just do not like it's just shit Earth Shatter. It's literally just Earth Shatter, but bad. And the only reason it goes through walls is because it's bad. Genuinely, I feel like if they had buffed it to the point where it was actually a valuable ultimate, they could remove the fact that it goes through walls. But another issue with it is its cast time is so long that literally any hero with any mobility whatsoever can get out of it. It might be the most easily countered ult in the game, and it's countered by being able to have a reaction time under 500 milliseconds. That's literally it. Because a Hazard's not ulting an Ana, or like a BAP, or something like that. It's just, maybe it'll happen, but I doubt it. So, the only people who's ulting are likely to be tanks who have enough survivability options to stay alive when they're rooted, and that's basically it, because the DPS are going to run away and the supports are going to be too far away because of the mobility options and stuff. So it's fucking useless. It's really bad. I think just scrap the whole thing and remake something else, because I don't like it. Now, to the biggest issue with the hero, and what I think will become very apparent in its full release, is that the hero simply does not work in 5v5. They don't. The hero single-handedly proves that 5v5 is simply a broken format. It doesn't work. Because when I was playing him in the higher level scrims, it took the enemy team that had never played the character before, it took them one team fight to realize all you had to do to beat the character was go any form of poke at all, and he insta-lost. He has no ability to do anything specifically. For example, a character like Reinhardt is very specific in what he does, right? Similarly to like a hero like Zarya. They're very specific in what they do. Similar to Monkey, they're very specific in what they do. They have their niche to some degree. However, Hazard doesn't have that privilege of having a niche. He's okay at doing everything, which means that he's not very good at doing anything. Which means if you want to dive with him, well, that's kind of pointless, because you could have just went Monkey or D.Va. He's not really good at diving, so you wouldn't really pick him for the dive. And you're never going to pick him for the brawl, because Mauga, Orisa, Queen, Ryan, they all out-brawl him. They just simply win in the brawl. So you're not going to do that. And you're not going to poke with him. He's not a poke tank. You're not rushing on the tank either. You're definitely not going to rush with him. He doesn't really do anything. And the problem with that is that no matter how you play him, he's never really the correct option. He's a bit similar to Genji in that regard, where Genji can kind of do a bit of everything. He can kind of dive, and he can kind of brawl, and, he can kind of flank, he can kind of poke to a little degree, and he's kind of okay at everything. And if you're very, very, very good at him, then you can make him work. And Hazard's a bit similar in the fact that he's not really good at anything, so the only way to get any value on him is to be obscenely good at him. However, he's a tank hero, meaning that he's not really afforded the privilege of being able to play around the enemy team as flexibly as like a DPS or a support would. Meaning that if you want to play Hazard, you're basically going to be permanently stuck doing nothing every game you play with him, because trying to be proactive with him will immediately get counterpicked and you will lose. For example, hero like Ashe. Ashe body slams this character. You cannot get close enough to an Ashe ever, but the Ashe will fuck you up. Because Hazard's dash range is not far enough to get on top of an Ashe, but the problem with this specifically is that Ashe has a certain fall-off range. It may be like 35 meters or something like that, right? Hazard's not capable of jumping that far, meaning you have to walk through Ashe's full damage range for a significant amount of time before you're in diving range. And even when you dive, you're just going to get coach gunned away, and there's nothing you can do. So you can't walk towards the Ashe, because she'll just shoot you and you'll die. And you can't dive the Ashe because you can't jump far enough. And even if you can jump far enough, you get coach gunned away. So you'll never kill the Ashe. The Ashe will just kill you. There's nothing you can do to an Ashe. Your character simply does not deal with the hero. Similarly to Ana, you will never be able to get anywhere near an Ana. It's just not going to happen. You can't jump far enough, you can't run fast enough, you can't flank on the hero, you can't do anything like that. You just have to accept you will be slept and you will be antied all the time. And there's nothing you can do because you can't go over there. Similarly to a Widowmaker, you're going to get body slammed against that. Sombra fucks the hero too because it cancels the block out. You're never going to be able to do anything against Baptiste because he's going to be permanently shooting you all day and you're never going to be able to dive to him. And even if you do manage to get on top of him, his health bar is so fucking big, you'll never kill him with how little damage you do. So Hazard simply does not work. He's really, really bad. He's a jack of all trades, master of none. And in the case of Genji, who is very similar, it is proven it simply does not work. The hero is broken by conception simply because they exist in 5v5. In 6v6, the hero would be fantastic because you'd actually have something to initiate with, to have a defense matrix. He'd have a Zarya bubble. He could even be the off tank. He could follow up on something like a Ryan, or he could follow up on something like a Monkey, and he could actually do something. He's not going to obviously provide the mitigation required to be a suitable off tank, but at least he's actually capable of doing something because he has follow-up. Whereas in the world we have now, he is doing nothing. Like, for example, simple scenario. The enemy team is playing Sigma. What do you do as a Hazard? Do you try and dive his backline? But you can't jump far enough. Well, so that's not going to happen. And if you get rocked, you're fucking dead. You die immediately because this character just falls apart. So you're not jumping into that Sigma's team. That's simply not happening. What if they go Queen Brawl? Okay, you can try and brawl the Queen, but that's never going to work because she's going to out-heal all the little damage you do, and she's going to beat the fuck out of you. So I guess you can ignore the Queen and try and jump past her, but then if you jump past her, well, you might be jumping into an Ashe and an Ana, and then you just immediately fall over. Like, the reason Monkey and Diva and Ball are capable of doing this is that Ball has a ton of shield. He has a ton of survivability options. He can stay alive through all of that spam. Monkey has his bubble to block the nade, block the sleep, things like that, block the Queen Dagger. He can stop all of that from hitting him with the good shield placement. Same with Diva. She's got her defense matrix to eat the sleep, eat the anti, eat the dagger, all of this stuff that would fuck her up and stop her from diving. She's got. What does Hazard have? Nothing. He has nothing. You can sleep him through his block, anti him through his block, you can do anything. His block has nothing other than damage mitigation. And even then, that's pretty strong because of the needles. But you're never going to be in a range close enough for the needles to be worth anything because he does no damage and he can't dive on anything because he can't jump far enough. But if he could jump far enough, then the character would just simply replace something like a Monkey or a Diva or a Ball because he would be so stat padded to make up for the fact that his abilities don't work, that all the other dive tanks or all the other brawl tanks or whatever it may be would be completely deleted from their role because he's a jack of all trades hero and he's not got his specific niche that he's allowed to actually have a lot of strength inside. So the hero just simply does not work in 5v5. He is simply broken at conception in this format. And if you disagree, I would love to hear why. Leave a comment and tell me why I'm wrong, because I hope I am. I love this hero. He's one of the best design heroes they've released in a long time. He's one of the most fun heroes they've released in a long time. And he's one of the most skill-based heroes that they've released in a long time. And I'm very, very happy with his release being the way it was, because I love the hero. I think he's great. But he simply does not work. If I'm wrong, tell me why. If I'm right, tell me why. I love you all. Have a good day. Mwah. Goodbye.